Hi guys, welcome back to World of Tanks with the Alniachi Gamer. Today we are looking at one of the Russian Tier 8 premium heavy tanks, the KV5. This thing is not for sale in the gift shop at the moment or in-game. It comes up every so often. It's an absolute beast of a tank. It's got pretty good armour, even for a heavy tank. 180mm at the front of the hull and turret. 180 at the side of the turret, so even the side of this thing is not that easily to penetrate, and 150 on the hull, and you've got the legendary Russian tracks. And, well, just generally don't shoot at the turret because it's 180mm at the back as well, and the hull's 140, so this is one incredibly well armoured machine. It does have its drawbacks though. It's not overly fast. This lower plate is a little weaker than the rest of the tank. And these two, well, I was about to say little, these two massive towers here are weak spots. The other downside of this tank, unfortunately, is its gun. It's a 107mm gun. It's the gun you get on the T150, essentially. I don't have the T150, but if we take a look in the garage here, the T150 there, with the 107 ZIS-6 gun, which is an incredibly good gun at Tier 6. At Tier 8, it's not great. Not when this thing can see Tier 9s. But it's got a reasonable rate of fire, very slow turret traverse speed, but very good gun depression. The aiming time isn't great, the accuracy is... well, the accuracy is pretty awful, to be honest. But it's an incredibly fun tank to use. And part of that is because of this. This tank weighs just over 100 tons in the setup I've got it in, and can reach 40 kilometers an hour. More if you're going downhill. This tank loves ramming people. If you can manage to get downhill and somebody's stupid enough to stand in your way that isn't a Japanese super heavy tank, you're going to do a lot of damage to them. And as I said, the gun isn't great. 167mm of penetration is not great, but it's not much worse than the IS-6 at 175. And the IS-6 gets 217mm with its premium ammunition. You get 2mm more penetration with the premium ammunition on the KV5 than you do on the IS-6. So, other weak spots on this tank. This hatch up here is a slight weak spot, but from the front, this thing is incredibly tall. You're very unlikely to be able to hit it, unless you are higher than the tank to start with. And to be honest, you'll be better off trying to shoot this, or this anyway. But that's enough about the tank itself. Let's see if we can get into a game and hopefully show you what this tank can do, or show you, maybe, the way my games have been going sometimes, show you situations in which you really don't want to find this tank. We'll see what we get. Unfortunately, we've got a Tier 9 match, which is really not the best matchmaker for a KV85. What am I on about? KV85. This tank I was playing before this. KV5. But it is only a slightly Tier 9 match, so we could still do a reasonable amount of damage, as long as we don't run into the 75 or the T10, really. WZ111, very similar tank to the IS-6, that's not much of a threat. The Tiger 2 and the FCM 50-ton could well be a threat, but we'll see what we can do. No artillery, thankfully. So I'm going to head off to the left, along with a few of our other heavy tanks. They're all probably significantly faster than me, even in reverse, because unless you're going downhill, this thing is rather slow. But when you get downhill, boy is this thing deadly if it meets something coming the other way. It just does take rather a long time to get going. Now, one thing I will advise you if you do look at getting this tank, I already mentioned the accuracy, but I have tried and tested it, and this tank is not a tank that the hand of Stalin will generally reach up from the depths of hell to guide your shot with. It is more likely that you will aim at a tank 20 meters away, aim at their lower plate, and the shot will fly over the tank and land somewhere in the next county. As you can see there. I know I didn't stop and let it aim, but I wasn't exactly thundering along. Oh, got him that time. Very unusual for this tank. Yeah, the 110 got the final shot in. But I'm not complaining, that's one tank down, one less tank to deal with. Unfortunately, we've lost our 416. And there's a couple of tanks up here that we've seen. Oh dear, that's a bit more than a couple. And there we go. T-54 Mod 1. And I bounced right off it. Although, my tracks do eat the return shot, so I can't complain too much. This is where this tank does have very good armor. Doesn't always hold out. Well, the Tiger 2 is firing APCR, and even that bounced. The MX-CDC, which does have over 200 mm penetration, bounced. I'm not 100% sure where the shot actually went. Oh, the shot that went in actually went in on the turret, which is surprising. Probably means it was shot from the side and hit the flattened side of the turret. So up there's not working very well. So, time to push this side. Try and get in and support over here. Where's that time? Can't quite get a shot on him. So I'm going to keep pushing forwards, get into more optimal range for this tank, which is in general more up close and personal. Where you tend to find people realise you're getting close and start to panic. Good players will exploit your weak spots if you get too close. Others will just panic and blind fire into your turrets, which is one of the best armoured places on the tank. Well, there we go, that's the Borsig dealt with, which was one of the big threats. So now we're going to turn around and go and try and deal with these tanks who are set out here. We are losing horribly though.
Didn't even scratch them. Track hit. Our gas tanks ruptured. We're low on fuel.
Well, unfortunately the 110 did resort to APCR there, but hopefully you can see, or were able to see, how the armour of this tank can perform. The gun, as I said, a little bit lacking at times. 167mm penetration is not really enough in a tier 9 game. In fact, at times it isn't enough in a tier 8 game. But the armour certainly does help you out. Now, as you have seen, quite a few people are firing gold ammo. Most likely that 110 who did damage me with the gold ammo, but it's certainly not looking that great. Although, they are trying. And we are capping the base, so there is a chance that my team could win this. just depends. Unfortunately, there we go. The cap's just been reset. They're outnumbered, but it's not impossible to win this in this situation, as long as they pay attention to where people are coming from. Now this match I think is most definitely going to be a loss, but I can't really fault the team for trying. They certainly didn't give up.
They killed our driver.
This T-54 Mod 1 is certainly making a good fight out of the end of this match. Although the 110 is about to get bum rushed by an FC-52.
One of our tracks is damaged. We've lost a track. Track hit. Village is hit. We're lucky it didn't blow.
But really can't fault this T-54 Mod 1 driver, who really has put up a cracking resistance at the end of this match. And still is not quitting. He's probably not going to survive, but at least he's not quitting. And there we go, it's all over by the shouting. But hopefully you were able to see there what this tank can do. I mean, as I said, the gun is alright for farming more weakly armoured targets, tank destroyers and such. Doesn't fare that well against more heavily armoured targets. But even though that was a loss and not a great match on my part, still came out with a profit on the credits. I did less than 800 damage, it really wasn't a very good match, but even against tier 9s, I still blocked 2000 damage. And I was killed quite quickly, so as you can see, this tank can be very good, but it's better one-on-one than in a group situation where you can be focus fired down. And it's also a lot better if people don't start spamming gold ammo at you. But there we are, hopefully that's given you a bit of a look at the KV5. I'm going to keep playing it, and if I can get a much better game, I'll be uploading that as a separate file, and then you can see more of what the tank can do rather than what it struggles with. But hopefully that's given you a bit of an insight into the KV5. Maybe you might consider buying it when it next comes on sale. Well, anyway, that's all for today. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, consider dropping me a comment, let me know what I've done well. Maybe even hit that like button or subscribe to the channel and check out my other videos. Would be lovely to have you on the channel. But take care playing whatever you're playing, and I will catch you next time.